Hello friends, welcome to Unit 6 Development Communication. We know these, don't we? In a developing country like ours, someone somewhere is working to overcome from these social barriers like poverty, hunger, illiteracy, gender inequality, unemployment, sanitation, water crisis, lack of infrastructure, malnutrition, child labor, and many more. And do you know that the social developmental issues are very complex in nature and there is no single solution to it? For example, going deep down into the rural areas, sanitation would be a major issue people are struggling with, instead of urban slums who are dealing with water crisis. Likewise, a village over the top of hill with the limited population would be trying hard to meet up the resources more than the semi-urban places where gender biases are immersed into the community. However, there are various tools, methods, technologies, and processes to solve these socio-economic or socio-cultural issues deeply rooted in our societies. Working on the root cause to empower the individuals, societies, and the communities provides an inclusive growth. And we have seen how the polio eradication is working on a mission mode, how farmers get weather forecast and useful information through mobile SMS, how e-government is helping people to get the work done through just a click in the government offices, how Har Ghar Jal, Har Ghar Shauchalay, Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, Ayushman Bharat, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Tribal Hospital, Gyanavani, E-Chopal and hundreds of others have created history. How rural electrification is lightening up the lives of millions. How Krishi Darshan on Doordarshan has transformed the village life. These are the milestones of development communication. What is development communication, or the DC? DC was defined way back in the year 1975. Since then, there are various ways in which the concept of DC was communicated. Nora Quebrel, often referred as mother of development communication, defined it as the art and science of human communication applied to the speedy transformation of a country and the mass of its people from poverty to a dynamic state of economic growth that makes possible greater social equality and largest fulfillment of the human potential. United Nations in 1997 defined DC as communication for development, stresses the need to support two-way communication systems that enable dialogue and that allows communities to speak out, express their aspirations and concerns, and participate in the decisions that relate to their development. DC is also an element of the management process and overall planning and implementation of development program, as defined by Rosario Braid. It may all lead to the simplification of the DC as process of empowerment and inclusive growth through communication. Now, let's have a quick look at how does it work. The development communicator identifies the root cause of the issues in the target segment. He or she further define an objective and further inform, instruct, and let every stakeholder participate in the developmental process. The development communicator choose the sustainable model with the optimum utilization of the resources and mediums that may include television, digital, community radio, films, newspapers, nukkad natak, nautanki, puppet shows, wall painting, or gram panchayat. Development communication is transformational in nature because it works deep into the issue and stimulates behavioral and social change, which is why we use DC. It works on the power of empathy and rising aspirations, improves the livelihood of poor and underprivileged section of the society, helps in changing the psychological patterns of individuals by letting them participate in decision making and policy formation. And DC works on the principle of optimum utilization of the resources and equally develops new skills to build capacities. Let's have an overview of the two basic models of the DC. One is diffusion and the other is participatory. The former was given in the year 1962 by Everett M. Rogers and later in the year 1970 by Pal Favrol. Diffusion model transfer the information from sender to receiver, while the participatory model involves a sender and receiver. Irrespective of the fact that there are some limitations in the development communication, its benefits still rule over those boundaries. Empathy, sustainability, target masses, inclusive growth, optimum utilization of resources, and its positive effect over the social, behavioral, psychological, and cultural patterns are overwhelming. Against the time it takes, speed of its conversions, complexity in understanding the regional behavioral pattern, and complications to adapt by the community. With the higher degree of population, there is a huge variation between the target group and their SECs. We must remember that every society or community or region may have a different set of socio-economic or socio-cultural issues. Therefore, the solutions can also be different. Thank you for listening to us.